I'm definitely looking forward to Katowice, mate. It's always a super fun time of the year. I think everyone is excited for the event. The nerds are gaming hard. I'm just excited to see everyone, as always. Like, the tournament itself is fantastic. I look forward to the games, but I also just look forward to, spending time with the community offline. That's always one of the best things about StarCraft. As much fun as it is to just sit in my living room and try to entertain you guys, there's of course nothing better than actually meeting everyone in person and enjoying the games in person. I'm ready. They are ready. Let's do it. Second bout of the night. BASILISK Big Brain Bouts, number 49. It is another PvZ. This one is between Jemiol and WiNTER. What? Did you beat me, mate? We can sell it in a little best of 5 if you want to, amigo. If you want to sell it, Magnet, we can make that happen. Anytime, any place.
Let's get it on. Round 1, fight.
Here we go, making his debut as well. Another man that has never played in the Big Brain Bouts before, but this is his first time, and that's what this tournament is all about. We try to give as many different nerds as possible a chance, but of course, at one point the level needs to get a bit higher. So that's why I keep on inviting certain pro gamers, semi-pro gamers, because we need those high-level games. But we also try to show love to the community. I'm gonna only say this one time, otherwise I'm gonna be sick and tired of repeating this. So from here on out, chat, whenever somebody comes in and is gonna ask you, it is on you. This man is not the YouTuber, the streamer, the American StarCraft 2 player, caster, etc. WiNTER. This is a WiNTER from Hungary who's currently living in the United Kingdom, and he's around 5,200 MMR. There have been too many WiNTERs in the history of StarCraft. I already mentioned earlier that we had a Swedish WiNTER once. That guy was incredibly good. And I was molding every single time I lost to him, because everyone thought that I actually lost to the American caster WiNTER. And I was like, no! I'm losing against the 6k MMR Zerg. This dude is really good. This guy is not quite 6k, but he is around 5'2". The Hungarian Protoss WiNTER. Apparently 36 years old. And has been living in the UK for 10 years. In the top right side, we are looking at the main base of a youngster from Poland. Poland, obviously a nation with a very rich history in Brood War, Warcraft 3 and Starcraft 2 as well. This kid is 16, but apparently pretty damn good already. It is Jemiol. You will sponsor an ATL show match between Magnet and RotterdaM? I will. I will accept any condition, any circumstance. Like, we can do a handicap as well. My unit's gonna have 80%. I'm down for that. If you want me to be intoxicated for that show match, I'll do it. If I can only use one hand, I'll do it too. Anytime, any place. The only thing I won't do is play Terran or Zerg, because then I do think I will lose. But as long as I play Protoss, I accept by default. In any way, shape, or form. Well, enough about that. We'll put Magnet in his place by the time that it comes. It's okay, guys. One gate fast went over here by WiNTER with a normal setup, normal timing on the Stargate. Everything looks very standard so far. I obviously do expect these games to look a little more like the professional PvZs we'll see later tonight between Bruce Wayne and Gong Fu. Nice Evolution Chamber block. Not sure if it's necessary against one adept, but the idea is there. The shit gets cancelled. This man really wants some early damage and gets one drone. Should be able to get one more. No, that one gets saved into a spore. I think we could have targeted better drones that were more on top of other drones, and then I think it's harder for Jemiol to save him, but alright. We lost an adept. We killed the drone. It's all good. Why not Terran, Roddy? Terran is hard, man. You guys seen Upper That dude, he's battling so damn hard every single night. I couldn't do it. I like to lean back in my chair. I fly around with some phoenixes. I lift some units. I build some probes. I build a couple carriers, and I aim with almost anyone up to 6k MMR. I'm not playing any Terran or Zerg. You kidding me? You know how hard it is? That's not for me. Sure, Dragon Elf. If you can get something interesting for me on the line that makes it worth my time, I would gladly do that too. First Oracle has killed 2 drones, as we have the first links of Jemiol on the other side of the map. Single adept is not going to be good enough here, by the way. You need a bit more than that. The defensive shade is a good idea, but it's just a little bit too late. At least the Oracle makes it home, activates Pulse of Beam. Honestly, very clean start by these guys. I often say it, I will always try to be nice because I know that these dudes are not pro gamers, but this actually looks very clean between these two. Maybe the youngster from Poland sitting on a few too many resources, but I think he's about to take care of that. I don't hate what I see. 5 minutes into game 1. The only thing that I always truly hope for, and we have said that many times, is that we don't get too many 3-0s. If we have a night of 3-0s, then either I got very unlucky or I did a bad job. So far, 5 minutes in, it feels that it's not that likely that this is going to be a 3-0, because it feels that everything that I'm looking at is pretty even. The resonating glaive follow-up after the Stargate is an interesting one. We're going to go up to 5-6 gates here. 2, 5, 6. Roach Warren halfway done. Not sure if that's going to be totally in time, but maybe he can buy time with the queens and the links, and then it will be okay. Clara's in the chat making me laugh, saying that's the only thing that I hope for, apparently. There's a little while ago we had some fun with a angry dude on Twitter. There were so many people that he could be angry at, and he decided to get angry at Kalaris. And I was like, that's a weird choice, but okay, what have we got? And he said Kalaris does not like Starcraft. Whenever he's at one of these events, the only thing he does is complain how long the days are, and it's very obvious he just wants everything to be over as quickly as possible. And it also seems that he's not interested in the games, which... It's just, all of it is wrong, and I'm not saying that because James is my friend, but I promise you guys, if you would ever be backstage, if there would ever be a camera there, you would know that that is wrong. The adepts are here, stasis trap goes off as well, in the center of all of this as, okay, I mean, it's kind of decent defense so far. Unfortunately, the main base is very exposed, so it's 6 drones dying, but I still don't hate how the youngster from Poland is dealing with this. Feels that WiNTER is a tiny bit overwhelmed. It's super hard, obviously, to control adepts in a main, in a natural, and then still worry about your oracles. Well, we just lost an oracle, so we don't have to worry about that oracle anymore. Adepts now getting on top of the 4th base already of the youngster from Poland. Drones still dying. Good surround here, though, with the links. WiNTER is sitting on a little too much money, but with 8 gateways, he should be able to spend that money rather quickly. I wouldn't hate a robo or a fort, though. He says, well, Roddy, what about 2 more gates? I mean, sure, that's a play as well, but... 10 gate, guys. 10 gate. Blink Stalker, no Forge, no Robo. You guys may not like it, but this right here is what Protoss peak performance looks like. We have a Stalker on hold position. There's no shield battery, though, to heal up that Stalker. Blink is about to finish up, and then... Oh, no! The Stalker! What happened to the Stalker? Did we F2? We F2 the Stalker. He F2 A-move, blink forward to get these roaches, and he will get these roaches, but now you have to deal with Zerglings in your main, Zerglings in your natural. Thank the Lord that we at least have adepts with resonating glaives, and we also have 10 gateways. Alright, WiNTER apparently does not believe in defending at all. He's like, yeah, okay, that's gonna deal damage. Well, F it. I'm just gonna try to find my damage on the other side of the map. And Blink Stalkers have potential, but there are 26 links on the production tab, and I kind of feel that 26 links should be good enough to deal with this amount of Stalkerinos. At least 6 drones died in the making of this counterattack, and there are a lot of units that he could wipe in at home. Both of these guys are just all-out unit production at this point. 5 bases, by the way, already for a Zergy, who's now going to get a couple of Ravages as well. Of course, the links running into the natural and main is great, because A, of the lost mining time being the amount of probes he killed. But C, the man gets an absolutely fantastic scout as well. And he sees that it's just gateways. He sees it's nothing but gateways. So all he needs to do is build as many units as humanly possible. I feel like he has a decent amount of Zerg units out. Stalkers are doing their best, but without upgrades against +1 melee Zerglings, it's damn difficult. It does seem like we snuck an adept or 2 in the natural. Got 3 drones there. I mean, WiNTER is actually ahead in workers. No, I feel like we have heavy oversaturation in the main, because the third is actually not saturated. So a bit of a shame. He should have slightly better income than what we currently have. 2 bases oversaturated, 1 base undersaturated. And the longer it goes, I would say the worse that it gets for the Protoss. I think right now he still has a chance, but it needs to happen sooner rather than later. Unless Jemiol just attacks him and loses everything. Ling run by number 2. Adapt is on hold position. No cancel on the pylon. Probe gets picked off as well. A single sentry is not going to make a big difference here, but maybe we can just go for a Guardian Shield. I think the link count is pretty damn high, and with all the Ravagers that deal great damage, that can spam Corrosive Bows, this has potential for the Polish Zerg. And with 4 Infestors on the way as well, all you need to do is just hang in there a little bit longer, as the Adepts have now left the party. And they are looking for damage in this base, but there is no damage to be found. I'm afraid that we are now starting to look at the beginning of the end. WiNTER did not transfer his workers, so he's still oversaturated and not mining all that efficiently of the third base. And to make matters even worse, he's just not transitioning right. There's no robo, there is no forge, no upgrades. Fungals will land, and if Fungals land, these Zerglings with +1 melee and these Ravagers should have a field day with this all Blink Stalker army. Another Fungal is going to connect. Look at them Zerglings, and that is good enough for the 16-year-old man from Poland. A 1-0 lead for him. Well done. Fun game. I think there was potential for WiNTER if the run-by did not happen. I think that it honestly was going somewhere, and I think it would have been very difficult for the Polish Zerg to crank out enough units to stabilize. And also, if we would have just chrono boosted our gates a little bit more, or chrono boosted our next side to keep that energy a little bit lower, it's all good. A 1-0 lead for the youngster from Poland. Let's see what a side Delta is going to bring. That was honestly a pretty fun game, and I feel like they both had strong starts. Pretty tight build orders. I did not hate it. Cheering for the old man from Hungary at this point. Let's tie things up, and after that, may the better player win. Third series of the night, guys, is going to be a PvT between 2 absolutely fantastic youngsters in the European scene. Arrow Fire, who's going to rep Team Roddy, and Milky Cow, who's obviously incredibly good, a Russian Terran player. And then the main event is one with a bit of a story. After Gong Fu Banda beat Young Yakov a couple weeks ago, Vanya, Reddita, Wayne immediately DM'd me and said, Roddy, let me play Gong Fu in the Big Brain Bouts. I want revenge. I want to show that the CIS Lions are strong. I was like, alright, I'll keep it in mind. And this was just a perfect Friday to do it, since obviously we have IM Katowice coming up, and I don't want to ask any of the Katowice players for this Friday. I was like, yeah, let's do that. One with a bit of a story. A bit of a plot.
Round 2, fight!
Here we go. Top left side of Berserker Esports. The young man from Poland, 16 years old, taking the 1-0 lead after defending the Adepts, defending the Stalkers, and having a couple of great run-bys. It is Jemiol. The bottom right side, a man who said, I am your age, Roddy. A 36-year-old Protoss player from Hungary, but living in the United Kingdom. This is WiNTER. And no, not the YouTuber WiNTER. I saw it once or twice when I peeked over to chat. When did I start using that? The round 1, round 2? A long time ago, mate. I think the day that I got my Stream Deck, I started using that. Probably somewhere at the beginning of the pandemic, but maybe even before the pandemic already. I think I've been using a Stream Deck for like 5+ years at this point. I love it, and if I ever do a stream without a Stream Deck, I feel so naked, empty. I'm like, how am I gonna have fun? Hello, Niat. Some Hungarian love in the chat. Supporting your brethren. WiNTER, I don't think I ever met this WiNTER, but he seems like a very nice guy. Whenever I interact with him, I saw him in my chat as well. And always just seems very positive, nice, chill, relaxing, easygoing. Someone who just enjoys Starcraft 2. So thought it was a perfect time for me to ask him to play in the BBB once. I think over the last 10 weeks we've done a very good job in getting a lot of new faces to enter on the Friday night. And now at this point I feel like there are so many other people that are like, hey, my friend played, so I want to play. Well, before they maybe felt that it wasn't possible, even though it was always possible. But I know it's hard to get the message out, and I always tell people, join my Discord, write in the Big Brain Bouts channel, sign up for other tournaments as well, because if I see you have a good game in the weekly or in a WADI qualifier or in anything else, an OSC tournament, I am more likely to invite you. But obviously the easiest way is just to let me know that you want to play. And then I'll try to make it happen. There are no promises, but I always try to make it happen. First adept, Shade is going to finish up. Does not get on top of that Crypto Marine time, so he cannot snipe it. But as long as he doesn't lose it to the links here, it's okay. Last game we saw that he's pretty YOLO with his first adept, and I expect him to kind of do that all over again. Or maybe he's going to wait for the double adept move out. It is always scary to move out with your first 2 adepts. And, oh, don't let it get surrounded. Oh, snipes the tumor right before he leaves. The man says, I'm out of here. Actually, a big creep tumor to snipe. But the queen obviously has some energy and can just drop another one. Still feels good though. If you're a Protoss player, we're going to go up to 3 bases with a Void Ray by the looks of it. Void Rays to me are always a little sus, as the kids would say. The Void Ray feels like you've got something to hide. He tried to do, I think he tried to do mineral drill there. But the probe tried to go through this side rather than through the adept. Activate prismatic alignment to kill the overlord as quickly as possible. Not sure if that's necessary, but it's not like you're going to use prismatic for anything else, so I guess it is a good thing to do. The quicker you kill it, the more likely it is that your opponent was ready to lose it, and the more likely it is that you can temporarily supply block them. Follow-up is going to be a Twilight Council, a Robo. We see a Sentry here in the mix as well. The Aussies. I saw that Australia lost to South Korea. I feel like the Asia Cup is mostly a battle between Korea and Japan. I feel like the other countries are just not that great at the moment. I know maybe Qatar can do something, but I've watched them play and obviously saw them play against the Netherlands as well back then at the World Cup. Not that impressed. I think Japan and Korea should be the 2 best countries. The Void Ray activating prismatic alignment on top of the 4th. And if you move the Void a little bit to this spot, then you can actually attack the hatchery for a little while longer. The queens are going to be able to keep it safe though, but dealing damage never hurts. Yeah, I saw that, bully. I saw they scored in the 97th minute, but I still think that Korea should be better than Australia. Australia can be tricky, I guess, right? We have an Immortal on the way. Last game we went without the Robo. Unfortunately, this Robo is kind of hindering our gas income here. As you guys can see, there is a lot of time. Like this one is waiting, but here you guys can see right now that there is a bit of a gap. So this actually is delaying your income. If you would fix the probes, if you'd like right-click them here and then send them in, right-click them here, send them in, I think that would fix it. Not always, but more often than not, that will fix the mining. Jemiol doing a little bit of everything. We got Link Speed on the way, dropping a Roach Warren, dropping a Hydra Den, so even getting Overlord Speed could potentially try to create a bit of a creep highway and go for a mass Roach Hydra attack, which is not that bad against Protoss players that don't rush into a Robo Bay. If you don't have Storm or you don't have a Robo Bay, like Roaches and Hydras are legitimately kind of good. And obviously if the Protoss has a lot of sentries, then you should add a bunch of Ravages in the mix, but I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory. WiNTER doesn't seem to like Splash. I think it probably comes down to I'm sure he likes splash damage, but he probably has a lot of bad experiences by trying to go into Colossus, disrupt the storm too quickly, and then getting overrun by a crazy big army. So everyone just plays in the end of the day what they're comfortable with, right? If you want to win, and I know these guys are going to do their best to win, then it really just comes down to what you're comfortable with. There's a bunch of force fields go down, and I mentioned Ravages earlier, guys. We don't have any Ravages. Now, the Lynx do surround one of the Immortals, and that is a good pickup on one of these important Protoss units. Do we have more force fields available? I do think so. I wouldn't hate a couple force fields here, by the way. Maybe we can save that Void Ray for a split second. The force fields are excellent for the Hungarian WiNTER. The Ravages are almost ready, but almost is not quite good enough, as that Immortal now is right-clicking on something it cannot reach. I think with the X-ray unit spawning, it's starting to look a bit better for the Zerg, but the Blink Stalker micro is good. If we keep microing Stalkers like this, we are cooking, as he's going to wipe in more Blink Stalkers. It is hard to battle Queens, Ravages, Lynx, and Hydras, though. Basically the worst nightmare of the Blink Stalkers, but with double micro potential, it is possible. We're going to try to save our Prism. The man saves the Prism, kills all the Hydras. I think if Jemiol would have just A-moved there, he would have been fine, but he wanted that Prism, could not get it. Might still get it now with the Queens, though. He is going to get it with the Queens. And that is going to keep him safe. And now all the Stalkers do get picked off. Ooh, WiNTER, you almost had him, mate. You had him on wobbly legs. He was on the ropes. Losing that Prism there towards the end was painful. We know that the Zerg did manage to get +1 missile attacks. WiNTER did not. WiNTER does say, you know what, it is time for some splash damage. I am going to go ahead and drop a Robo Bay. If we drop a Robo Bay, I do really want to see a second Robo. Thorn says GG, question mark. I don't think it's GG at all. Protoss is up in Workers and is now heading into a very strong... Whatever he builds, right, it's going to be good. Whether it's Colossus, Disruptors, Immortals, it's always going to be good. I feel like he's fine if he can just buy some time. And I think with Blink Stalkers, you can always buy time. There's a shield battery here as well, so... No, I don't think this is GG, as long as WiNTER doesn't do anything silly. And silly would definitely be getting surrounded in, on creep. Stop, mate. You don't want to get too aggressive if you have a big investment like this on the way. The Robo Bay is going to make your army so much more powerful. Oh, he's so aggro. Chill, mate. He's been bleeding out units here. He has warped in a couple of adepts. The Queen is very upset about it, so attacking the hatchery. This adept warp in is great to buy time. But obviously losing Stalkers is not great. Oh my goodness, it's just adepts everywhere. Adepts in the third, adepts in the fourth. Gotta say, pretty good crisis management by the young man from Poland. He just seems to be everywhere that I'm looking at. Double Colossus is on the way. Ascended Turbulence is needed here. Like, there is a chance that our Zerg is now just going to send it after he saw like 12 adepts being shaded in. I don't think WiNTER can defend this base, but I also don't think you have to. You need to defend the 3 bases and your 2 robots. As long as you do that, you're alive. Not sure why we're warping in a Zealot and an adept here. That is not the right play. Just please don't lose the game trying to save this base. 3 base Protoss can absolutely win with Colossus, and careful with the Colossus. Oh no, that is not careful at all. Colossus gets rallied straight into the Zerg army, and the Stalkers are in a bit of an awkward spot. We have another Colossus showing up now. Battery overcharge gets activated. I think this Colossus will live for a while, but the Stalkers need to blink here too, because the roaches are a problem for the Colossus. It is starting to look like WiNTER just threw away a few too many units right before he had those sweet Robo units out. I think he is going to die here. GG gets called. Jemiol takes the 2-0 lead. He was never going to have Turbulence there. He started it a bit late, but he was never going to have it in time. I just think he should not have thrown away that many units. I also think by shading that many adepts in, you really give your opponent the idea that for them to clean it up, the right thing to do afterwards is counterattack. I don't think that Jemiol otherwise was planning on attacking, because he took a lot of damage, his economy was weak, so I don't think he was ready to run to the other side of the map with roaches and hydras and ravages. It's just, I feel like the adepts prompted him to do it. Buying time with like a 2 adept shade is fine. Being on the edge of creep with blink stalkers and not losing any is fine, but stepping on creep, losing stalkers, and then just throwing away 12 adepts at once while transitioning into the double robo and the robo bay is a bit unfortunate. Thank you to Sly Talent for the 44 months. 44 on the hood of a Ferrari, guys. Who could have thought? Who could have thought that we were going to see it? But it is going to happen. Shout out to Dave, by the way. Dave gifting us 5 buckies during that first game or second game. This Katowice Protoss will win. I'm calling it. If I pass out from holding my breath, call for help. It's a very bold prediction, mate. I'd be very impressed if you're right. It's not that I think it's impossible for a Protoss to win. It's just that A, we obviously don't have MaxPax in Kato. And B, you look at the Zergs, you look at the Terrans, there are just more contenders to win it than there are contenders for Protoss to win it. But I hope that you're onto something, mate. Yeah.
Round 3. Fight!
Hero, if he is truly on his A game and he doesn't do silly stuff, has the skill to win it. But outside of Hero, I haven't seen any other Protoss lately that I'm like, yeah, if they go to Katowice and they play like this, they can win. The only one that gives me that feeling is MaxPax, but obviously he's not going to be there. So I feel like it's Hero or Busto, and in that regard. Bottom left side of El Sione. We are looking at the main base of the Hungarian Protoss. He's down 0-2, but he was damn close to winning game 1, and he was damn close to winning game 2 as well. This is the Hungarian Protoss WiNTER. Can still turn it around. Top right side, we are looking at the main base of a man that's 20 years younger, a 16-year-old Polish Zerg taking a 2-0 lead, Berserker Esports Jemiol. Kid is playing well, by the way. Honestly, can say that I am unimpressed. Kind of like what he's doing, clearly has the right idea of how to open up, where to move his units. I think he does a very good job in splitting up his army from time to time when he has to worry about harassment in the 3rd and 4th base, or natural and 4th base. Pretty impressed by this kiddo. If we didn't have 4 players on Team Roddy right now, I would say let's get him, but 4 is as much as I can ever do, guys. And let's see if El Sione does belong to WiNTER. Because he was damn close. You can't say that he wasn't close. I think if he doesn't lose that Warp Prism there towards the end against the Queens and he warps in a few more Stalkers, I think we reached the tipping point already. The point of no return. And I do believe he would have been able to close it out in game 1 if we did not F2 our Stalker out of the wall. I also think he was in a very good spot. He does a very good job in getting economically ahead in a lot of these games, while not being behind in the game. It's not that he loses everything to get a few more workers. It's just that at one point he kind of gets stuck and he's like, alright, this is how I'm going to win. And then things start going wrong. El Sione belongs to Autumn. Honestly, feels like a winter map to me. Kind of gray, dark. There isn't really any happiness on this map. The trees are not green. Barely any leaves left. I think it's a winter map, mate. First adept on the other side of the map almost gets surrounded, but in the end we keep it alive. Second adept is out. Does not want to send it out yet. I feel like WiNTER's early game would honestly take a big step forward if he just has the confidence to send out a second adept a bit earlier. Because it's very hard for one adept to be successful. It's just kind of a scout, that's what it is. And there's obviously nothing wrong with scouting. We see that everything is normal, but if he was about to be bailing busted and he didn't scout at all, we'd be sitting here and be like, oh my god, scout, mate. So scouting is good, but it's also nice to move out with 2 adepts. 2 adepts, one-shot drones, one-shot Zerglings. It's a lot more difficult for Zerg players to deal with. I think the prediction ended a long time ago, mate. Avoid Ray first, once more, as we have a pretty quick Twilight Council as the follow-up. What kind of a Twilight build will this be? Are we gonna go back to Resonating Glaive at depths? Don't hate it, I think this is a pretty good map for it. You can even go for just straight Blink and go for a Blink Stalker all-in. Honestly, all of that is not that bad. Finds the second Overlord too, this is good news for WiNTER. Getting 2 OV kills this quickly, it's pretty big. Not totally certain why we are warping in a Zealot. Is he planning a Zealot all-in? Yes, he is. So he's gonna go for charge. Now, Hero found a lot of success in the Masters Colosseum with Stargate into like 8-gate Zealot charge. But it's very important to keep in mind that Hero does that with a Forge and +1. And +1 is incredibly important because that makes Zealots good against Lynx. If you don't have +1, your Zealots are kind of bad against Zerglings. The announcement, Dragon Elf, is that for the foreseeable future, we have 2 new members on Team Roddy. I will temporarily be supporting Arrowfire and Sebades. Sebades from Czech Republic. Arrowfire, obviously you guys should know, is from France. He reached out to me. And obviously the passion project will continue strong. You guys are very good to me. Give me a lot of love. Support this channel. So it does not hurt for me to give back a little. And try to support some young pro gamers out there. We legitimately have a pretty good lineup right now on Team Roddy. If these kids qualify for WTL, they're gonna have to do it without me. We need to put Andre or Jacob or WeShark in charge, because I'm obviously Basilisk in WTL. In the qualifiers, I can help out the kids a little bit, but in the main event, if they make it, they're on their own. This Void Ray, by the way, guys, is roaming the entire map. 3 Overlords is good, but I don't really believe in these kinds of builds. 7 Roaches are out, 29 Lings are out. This is not it. This is the least intimidating move out so far that I think that WiNTER has had. There is a crazy amount of Zerg ready for this. WiNTER is down 10 workers and he's just running into a bigger and stronger and better army. This build is not it. Like, if you want to do this build, please do it with a Forge. You need +1. If you have +1, your Zealots are amazing. If you do it without +1, they are just not that amazing. It's a shame as well, because this was actually a very close best of 5. Even if it was 2-0 in favor of Jemiol, those 2 games were on a knife's edge and could have gone either way. If 1 or 2 slightly different things would have happened, some of those key moments, this poor WiNTER right now is misrolling his probes. Perhaps he didn't even know how close he was to winning that first game and how close he was to winning that second game. Because this game 3 here feels a little desperate to me. It kind of feels like a Hail Mary. And I don't think there was any need for that. If once we get Archons, that's obviously going to make our life a lot easier. Archons can rip through Zerglings with or without upgrades. He's now going to try to get Storm. But now it's just a bit too much at once, right? We go from pure Zealots to High Templars, Archons, now with Storm and a Robo. And then we're going to build an Immortal, I guess. Like, I'm afraid this is going to be a bit too much. Pretty good surround here, though, at first for the Zealots, as they do make their way through the Roaches very quickly, or at least get on top of a couple of the Ravages. What is this? A Void Ray. That Void Ray would be very useful at home right now, because this army has no anti-air. Come on, WiNTER. I felt like you were F2ing earlier with the Stalkers, or at least you blinked everything when you shouldn't have, as Lings are now on top of probes in the natural. This fight, not the worst fight that the Protoss could have possibly taken, but while losing probes and already being down a base, it's obviously not going to be the fight that WiNTER is looking for. He's now down 70 supply. It feels like we completely forgot about our Void Ray. So maybe when he moved that Stalker outside of the wall on Solaris, he did not F2. He just grouped all of his Stalkers and he blinked the Stalkers forward. Because I feel like if we were F2ing, this Void Ray would have came home, and that Void Ray would have been very useful at home. With that Void, we would never die here. If that Void was just wailing away at those Roaches and Ravages for all this time. Battery Overcharge here is sick, by the way. Look at that, one Zealot is going to stay alive forever. Jemiol is aware of that, though. He knows he needs to get on top of that battery, and he will. The Roaches just hogging the Immortals. And all the Protoss units die, and unfortunately for WiNTER, this is going to be it. He hits us with the GG, congrats. 3-0. That is not what I'm supposed to give you guys, but it will happen every now and then. Jemiol wins the second best of 5 tonight, 3-0. Felt game 1 and game 2 were incredibly close. Game 3, that build is just not that great without +1. You really need +1 with that build. And maybe afterwards, like, it still would have been doable to make something of the game if we had a safety Void Ray, but that Void Ray was chilling on the top side of the map and was not there to help out. It is what it is, guys. I still thought the first 2 games were pretty fun and close and competitive. And hey, kudos to the youngster, man. 16-year-old kid played very well. Maybe a bit nervous in the beginning, but Shout out to Jemiol. Maybe one to keep your eyes on for the future. Because if that kid is 16 and he's already this good, could potentially get a whole lot better. Shout out to Basilisk for allowing us to run another edition of the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts and giving me 10 more subbies after the second best of 5 tonight. We're going to settle that prediction. You guys thought it was going to be close. I thought it was going to be close. In the end, the youngster, just too powerful. Young beats old. Let's go ahead and get ready for the third series of the night. So we're going to make a massive jump forward in the quality of the games. We go from 5k, 5.2k MMR to 6,200 MMR immediately. It's going to be Arrowfire versus Milky Cow. First time ever that Arrowfire is representing Team Roddy, as we made the announcement that he is going to join Team Roddy for a little while yesterday. Give you guys 15 minutes because we are a bit ahead of schedule and I don't think they are ready yet. So here you go. Wasn't he almost a minute late with the pseudo hero build? I don't think he was late at all when it came to the Zealot attack. I don't think that is fair. But of course, he could have done things better and more optimal. And yes, it turns out that our friend, who is 5,200 MMR, is not quite as good as Hero. Thank you, WiNtER31, for getting to that conclusion. I don't think many of us would have been able to connect those dots without you. So, we appreciate it. Where would we be without you? We're going to go ahead and take a tiny break. And after that, we'll be back. Does Milky have what it takes? These kids are amazing. Milky Cow, how old is he right now? Like 19, 20? Let's take a look. Both of these kids are young, and both of them are incredibly good. Milky Cow, Liquipedia. It's like 19 or 20 or something. He is 20. He was born on February 19, 2003, so almost 21. Arrowfire is only 16. And he's obviously the highest ranked 16-year-old that we have in Europe. Turned 16 on the 24th of May. This kid is amazing. Super sweet kid. Great gamer. I think it's going to be a very fun series. I think PvT is tough for him, but I have a lot of faith in that young man. Thank you, WiNTER, for giving out 2 subbies as well. Take a tiny break. I'll see you guys real soon.